This video is on the price prediction and technical analysis of the German index, which we also refer to as DAX40. And what we'll do, as you guys know, is identify the market structure of German 40, market patterns that we should be paying attention to, as well as levels at which we may potentially look for buy and sell opportunities, right? And just to recap, the last time we spoke about this particular index, we had mentioned that the market had given us this inverted head and shoulders pattern where we had the left shoulder here, this being the head, and this area over here being the right hand shoulder. And it has a very important level of support at this point over here, and it's actually a level at which a lot of institutions are actually waiting for price to head to. And once price reverts back to this level, at this level is where they will be, looking to move the market further up. So it's a very important level. And also just to utilize Fibonacci, just to see if that level aligns with any key numbers. Let's have a look. And so far we can see that as far as the Fibonacci retracement tool goes, the level which is over here, right, aligns, we could say, with the 38.2% Fibonacci retracement level, right? So that adds as confluence in as far as looking for potential buy opportunities goes at this level over here, should price from where it is move down to that level, right? To add to this, just to zoom in a bit, let's have a look. We can see that at this point in time the market is moving rather sideways, and it's a sign that we may actually be getting ready to see the market move down to that level, right? Anyway, from here let's head down to the weekly chart and see what's happening on the chart. And remember guys that on the monthly chart I spoke about how here we have price moving rather sideways, but now that we're on the weekly chart we can see actually that we have what seems to be a head and shoulders pattern, as you guys can see. And this would be the left shoulder, that would be the head, and this would be the right hand shoulder. And this particular pattern has a neckline, more or less we could say around that level. And what may possibly happen is that price may break to the bottom side of that neckline, as well as break this channel we have over here, right? And once that happens, we may potentially see the market actually move that down to this level to, as I said, test this very important level of support. And it's a level at which a lot of, as I said, institutions will be looking to move the market further up, right? Another thing that I also want to bring to your attention is that we have this candlestick over here, and as you guys can see, it is a bearish candlestick with a small body and quite a long lower wick. And again, it means that at the bottom where that wick ends, we have a lot of liquidity there, and this speaks to price potentially moving further down to this level to not only test the level, right, but also to grab the liquidity associated with this particular candlestick over here. I hope you guys can see that, right? Anyway, what else do we see in regards to the weekly chart? Another thing that I also want to bring to your attention is that as much as we have this candlestick over here that's carrying all of that liquidity, we have another one here. It's also a bearish candlestick with a relatively small body and quite a long lower wick, which means that we have a lot of money stuck there as well, excuse me. And yeah, it adds as confirmation and confluence that we may potentially see the market actually move to all of these levels that I spoke about, right? Anyway, from here let's head down to the daily chart and let's see what's happening down there. And again, just to recap guys, remember that on the weekly chart we mentioned that we have this pattern over here, which is a head and shoulders pattern, right? And we said that we may potentially see price break, if you can just mark it, break this channel over here, as well as break below the neckline we have here, and actually move down to grab the liquidity associated with that candlestick that's here, that is carrying all of that liquidity, in addition to, if I can just zoom out a bit, in addition to moving further down to around that level. And at this level is where I said a lot of institutions such as banks, insurers and so forth will be looking to move the market further up, right? But anyway, here we are on the daily chart, and let's just zoom in a bit and let's see what's happening down there. And what do we see on the daily chart, right? So on the daily chart, as much as we have, just bear with me, on the daily chart, as much as we have, let's see, let me just zoom out a bit. as much as we have this pattern over here, which is a head and shoulders pattern, we also have a smaller head and shoulders pattern over here. If I can just mark it, right? I hope you guys can see that. And it too has a neckline around here somewhere, right? And again, the same principle applies, right? Should price close below this channel over here, right, as well as below this very strong level of support at this point in time, chances are we're going to see the market move further down, right? Another thing that I also want to bring to attention is that as much as we have this smaller head and shoulders pattern, right, we also have again this candlestick over here. It's very much similar to those liquidity candlesticks that I spoke about on the weekly chart, in that it too is a liquidity candlestick and that it's carrying a lot of liquidity at that point, right? There's a lot of money stuck there, and as much as we have this pattern, which is a head and shoulders pattern, we may potentially actually see price shoot further up to grab that liquidity before potentially moving further down again, right? I hope what I'm saying makes sense and that my drawings are not too confusing. Yeah, so we are on the daily chart again, and I just want to add my triangle over here. We seem to have this bottom side of the triangle, right? Just bear with me. In addition to this, we have the top side as well. If I can just draw it, let's see. There we go, there we go, there we go. And this tells us that a breakout is imminent, as we're either gonna see a breakout to the upside or to the bottom side. But due to the reasons that I've given you, chances are we're gonna see a breakout to the bottom side, and that is because, just to zoom out, remember guys, that we have number one, this pattern over here, which is a head and shoulders pattern. In addition to this, we also have a smaller head and shoulders pattern over here, right? And yeah, these two patterns point to price possibly moving further down. However, just bear in mind that we have this barrier over here, right, which acts as dynamic support, and this barrier over here also acts as dynamic resistance. As if I can just zoom in again, remember that we also have this candlestick over here, which is carrying all of that liquidity at that point, and we may potentially see price move up to grab that liquidity and actually move all the way up again to this area to get a third touch there, or a third rejection, as we had number one here, number two here, and we may get a third rejection there, and at that point is where we may potentially see the market move further down, right? Bearing in mind that we also have this very strong level of dynamic support, and it's also possible that price may bounce off this level only to move further up, right? Again guys, I'm just speculating and I'm just showing you what may possibly happen, and we need to be prepared for all eventualities, right? Anyway, from here let's head down to the H4 chart and let's have a look. And again, just to recap, just bear with me, just to recap, remember that on the daily chart we spoke about how the market had given us this smaller head and shoulders pattern, and we said that we have a lot of liquidity around this level, as we have this candlestick over here that's carrying all of that liquidity, right? But let's just zoom in and see what's happening on the H4 chart. On the H4 chart, we have another gap here, as you guys can see, and gaps are very much similar to liquidity candlesticks in that they too carry a lot of liquidity, and this tells us that actually we may see price continue to move further up to fill that gap, because there's also a lot of money stuck here, right, in addition to here, which is where we have that candlestick that's carrying that liquidity. Remember that, guys. But what else do we see in regards to the H4 chart? Another thing that I see that is also very much important is that as much as I'm saying that we're likely going to see price move further down, remember that we also have this W structure, and again, it started here, and ideally we want to see this particular W structure close here in line with where it has started, which speaks to what I said, that we may see price actually move further up to get a third rejection from that trend line that I spoke about, which is actually dynamic resistance, right? And I said that at this point again we may see the market actually move further down, right? So right now, just based on the H4 chart, in as far as buy or sell opportunities go, I don't see any. In my very, very humble opinion, I would say the best thing to do at this point is to wait and see what happens next. Myself personally, I would love to see price at least come back to this level to grab that liquidity, and at this level is where I would evaluate again, as it is quite possible that price may move to this point, give us a fake out by dropping somewhat to the bottom side, and then after people selling at that point, because they will be seeing a potential structure, the market may then push further up, not only to grab the stop losses located here, but also to move price to this level to get a third rejection from that trend line, and then only potentially move further down, right? So we just need to be careful in as far as GER40 goes, and remember also that we're in earnings season, and that as much as earnings season is in America, it also affects the German index as well as the rest of the indices that we have, including the Japanese index, the British index. What else do we have? We have the Hong Kong 50, we have the Australian index as well, and so forth, right? So we need to be careful, guys. We really need to be careful and thread carefully.